are these people?
Another crazy story. David Cronin, who actually is also on Substack, boasting of transparency. He writes this for the Electronic Intifada, an Indie Media Award honoree. One of the top independent outlets. Go follow them at electronicintifada.net. Boasting of transparency, the EU won't say who paid for an Israeli propaganda trip. So David is in the UK. All right. The European Union is refusing to say if Israel has paid for activities undertaken by a prominent official. That would be a problem. Katharina von Schnurbein, the EU's coordinator for combating anti-Semitism, visited Israel in late May for what was essentially a propaganda tour. During it, she dismissed the well-documented evidence that massacres were being carried out in Gaza as rumors about Jews. Really? Exactly who footed the bill for the trip, which involved discussions with Gideon Sa'ar, Israel's foreign minister, has not been disclosed. The EU's executive, the European Commission, has invoked data protection rules to reject the FOIA request made seeking details about the trip's costs and whether Israel covered them. Should be a very basic question: who paid for this trip? The European Commission's secrecy over this matter exposes as laughable a recent claim by one of its spokespersons that it is among the world's most transparent public institutions. As a basic minimum, a transparent body would be upfront about who pays for activities carried out by its employees, wouldn't it? In a lengthy reply to my request, while saying no, the European Commission suggested that von Schnurbein needs to be shielded from scrutiny. Why? The person, even though she is not a high-level official and does not form part of the senior management of the EU, has already been the subject of journalistic articles attacking not only her professional capacities, but also her personal character, the reply stated. Well, when you deny and whitewash genocide, they tend to do that. And of course, it didn't cite any examples of such articles because they don't exist. The reply amounts to willful deception. Von Schnurbein, a Bavarian aristocrat, may not be at the top of Brussels' hierarchy. Nonetheless, she is a representative of the EU and is authorized to speak on its behalf. She belongs to the central administration of the European Commission, answering directly to the Nazi Ursula von der Leyen, the institution's president. The European Commission's insistence on secrecy indicates that it wishes to conceal details about von Schnurbein Schnurrbein's close relationship with Israel and its network of lobbyists. Again, what do you have to hide? If Israel paid for it, that's a problem. If the EU paid for her to go on a propaganda trip, that's also a problem. Revelations about this Israel trip in May have already proven embarrassing. The website EU Observer has published an internal paper showing that von Schnurbein made bizarre allegations during it about her own colleagues who had taken action in support of Palestinians. These included the allegation that a bake sale organized by some Brussels officials to raise funds for a Red Cross Gaza appeal risked causing ambient anti-Semitism. Because yes, when you shed a light on the fact that Israel is murdering Palestinians, people tend to not like Israel as much. Yeah, that happens. The revelations prompted calls by human rights activists and some lawmakers for von Schnurbein to be removed from her post, and she should be. Von Schnurbein's job contract makes no reference to Israel or any other foreign country for that matter, as her responsibilities are limited to fighting anti-Semitism within Europe. It follows that her work should be financed solely by European governments. Under rules applying to Brussels officials, von Schnurbein is required to only act in the European Union's interests, not on behalf of any external Middle Eastern state. She's obligated to seek permission from the EU's hierarchy before accepting any gifts. Also, remember that the UK and that Great Britain exited the EU, Brexit. So they're not even part of this. The US and Great Britain are not part of this. That would include trips that are paid for by foreign governments or pressure groups. All right. But the German government is certainly very close with the Israeli government now. There are elements within the Swiss government, the ones that arrested Ali Abu Nima, that are Zionist aligned. You've got even parts of Turkey and parts of France. Macron is aligned with Israel, even though he's been critical occasionally. They're all pro-Israel. But they're not allowed. This person should be acting in the best interests of Europe, not Israel. But did they just buy off yet another person who's influential? It's not the first time the EC has withheld basic information about her activities specifically. In a separate FOIA request, he sought details of how many staff have been allocated to her office and what tasks those staff have been assigned. Again, the most transparent agency in Europe should be willing to disclose that. Although the European Commission rejected the request on data protection grounds, I've learned from a well-placed source that von Schnurbein heads a team of 6. That means she has far greater resources than Marion Lalisse, the EU's coordinator against anti-Muslim hatred. Lalisse has no staff aiding her work. So 6 people to help the anti-Semitism one, no staff to help the anti-Muslim one. That fact alone speaks volumes about how skewed the EU's priorities are, especially because there's a massive influx of Muslims that have come in the last decade thanks to all the refugees. Rather than sticking to her actual job of protecting European Jews from persecution, which is still anti-Zionism, is not anti-Semitism, von Schnurbein has weaponized anti-Semitism in order to smear Israel's critics. She and Jonathan Greenblatt must be peas in a pod. She's done so with the help of a fairly sizable team. Jonathan Greenblatt being from the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, which everyone in this country has realized is over-the-top, ridiculous propaganda. By contrast, the fights against hatred of Muslims and racism more generally have just been given lip service by top politicians in Brussels. Worse, those politicians are encouraging xenophobia by pursuing policies hostile to refugees, like I mentioned. Ursula von der Leyen, lest it be forgotten, gave her complete backing to Israel's genocidal war against Gaza in its initial stages. Her German compatriot, Katharina von Schnurbein, has gone to extremes in trying to downplay Israel's most egregious crimes as mere rumors and smearing those spreading the rumors. No, I've seen videos of headless fucking babies in Gaza. There's rumors. It's disgusting that she denies that exists. As the EU has enabled and excused the attempted extermination of Palestinians, nobody should be surprised that it's trying to hide some key details. So, a little bit of European internal politics, but fuck Israel, because it's not just about controlling the United States and our media and our narrative, but also doing it overseas as well. Not just in England, not just in Australia, but also in the EU. All right. So that's our lengthy fuck Israel segment. Support independent media if you can. Again, Electronic Intifada, Indie Media Award honoree. Went to a few of them here. That's our wall of fame. Those are the people that have actually supported INN with some kind of tip. Patreon monthly support, Substack subscription, Stripe tip, Cash App, Ko-fi. Those are the ways to do it. Cash App, $, Indie News Network. By the way, I saw a talking wombat. You see in top left corner, one of the very first patron supporters hanging out in chat right now on Substack. Thank you so much. Love you. Appreciate you still being around after all this time. Okay, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. We got paypal.me/Indie News Network. IndieNewsNow.com, where you can watch this show live. You can check out independent news completely free and ad-free. And you can also get merch. We got merch there too. And we can also get over at Substack, IndieMediaToday.com and INNNewsletter.com. We got 2 different Substacks that I support and publish to. See you next Tuesday. So support independent media. Like I said, we need it more than ever. I'll see you next week. And I love you all, fam. Have a good night. No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say?